to me and my family and will make all New Yorkers safe. Thank you.
Next person who's going to speak is the mother of Allan Feliz. No mother should be in these circumstances, especially. The next person who's going to speak is the sister of Allan Feliz, Ashley Gadeja, who's been a mentor her brother since day one.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Ashley Verdeja and I'm the younger sister of Allan Feliz. I'll start by saying thank you once again for all you guys being here once again and get me right. I miss Allan every day. He was my big brother, my friend, my protector. Losing him was losing an angel amongst us. He was such a big part of our lives. The past 6 years have been excruciating and exhausting. But Allan's love fuels me to go as hard as he needs me to go. With my family, I have stood here countless times, taking off of work and putting aside our grief as best as we could, and doing everything in our power to demand the most basic form of justice which Allan
Oh,
deserved.
sorry.
And even that was not enough. The fact that Rivera wasn't fired makes me feel like the law is simply not upheld with officers. They can get away with anything. They have no regard for New Yorkers' lives. I can't fathom why Commissioner Tish waited for months with this case on her desk, putting us through such a long and excruciating process, just to come to a no. We finally built hope after her own deputy commissioner found Rivera guilty and recommended he be fired. But Tish took it all away from us. It makes me wonder what the entire process was for. Not a day goes by that I don't think about Tish's decision to let Rivera get his badge and go. Knowing Lieutenant Rivera is still on the force is disappointing and it's scary. I hope nobody ever experiences Lieutenant Rivera as an officer because he is a danger to me, to my family, and to every New Yorker. Since Tish overturned the guilty verdict, I have found it very hard to stay even work. I feel disoriented at times and tired all the time. I don't want to think about this anymore, and it's almost as if I would just love to turn off my brain and sleep, but we can't even do that. Every time we see a police officer, even on TV or even hearing a siren, it just makes me nervous. Since we never got any form of accountability, I can't help but believe that an officer will do the same thing to somebody else and also get away with it. My mom can't be here with us today, but I want to share something on her behalf. When she first arrived to this country, she believed the police was here to protect us and to uphold the law. But Lieutenant Rivera, Mayor Adams, and Commissioner Tish have made it very clear that this is not the case. As long as Commissioner Tish supports violent officers like Rivera, no one in this city is safe. So we are calling on the next mayor to ensure that Tish has no place in their administration. And we are urging the NYPD to fire Lieutenant Rivera for once and for all. Nothing will bring my brother back. My nephew Eli will only have his dad in memory. But at least if Lieutenant Rivera is fired, I will be able to sleep at night knowing that Lieutenant Rivera won't be able to help, or hurt, I'm sorry, because he wouldn't help, hurt another New Yorker as he hurt my family. The court must overturn Commissioner Tish's shameful decision and Rivera must be fired. All of our safety depends on it.
The next person who will speak is Julia Chino, Allan's compañera and the mother of their fabulous child, Eli.
Good afternoon. My name is Julia Quino. I am the mother of Eli Feliz, who is Alan Feliz's son. Alan should be alive today, spending time with his family and his children. Instead, we are here 6 years later without a shred of accountability. Our son Eli was just 6 months old when NYPD Lieutenant Jonathan Rivera and Officer Ezra Barrett and Michelle Amazon racially profiled and brutally murdered Allen and took Eli's father away from him forever. There's not a day that goes by that Eli does not answer his father. As at his school the other day, there was a Father's Day event for all the students, fathers to take some oaths. But Eli didn't have that. He told me I have to take my dad, Alan Feliz, but he's not here. No child should have to go through this. No mother should have to explain to her child what, why their father is gone, or why the cop who killed them is being left off the hook. Especially as he gets older, Eli looks so much like his father. But when I tell him this, he says, "Don't say that. The police are going to come and kill me like they killed my dad." I want to tell Eli not to worry, but how can I do that if Lieutenant Rivera is still patrolling our street? When I learned Commissioner Tish had referred to Deputy Maldonado's decision and let Rivera keep his job, I felt like half of my heart was missing. I lost my appetite and I had difficulty sleeping. I'm afraid knowing Lieutenant Rivera is still an officer and still carrying his gun. I am afraid he might harm someone else. I'm so nervous to drive now because he's still on the force. I'm scared that he pulls me over and he'll learn who I am and retaliate against me. Or that he pulled me over for no reason just because I've been actively speaking against him. I was born and raised in New York City, but now I can imagine staying in this place that has caused my family so much harm in the city, where his father grew up, where his father was killed, and where his father was denied justice. I don't want us to live in a place where police get away with killing people with impunity. Half my heart is missing, but the other half is strong and filled with anger at Jessica Tish for making such an unjust and outrageous decision. Ignoring all of the evidence, my hope is that the court sees Jessica Tish for who she is and reverses his decision. Then this overwhelming fear that comes from knowing Lieutenant Rivera is still patrolling the city will be realized. Eli has been to countless rallies, more than any 6-year-old should have to go to. He knows what's going on. Yeah, he's still just a child. I hope I can tell him the whole story later, when he is older and can better understand. And hopefully when Lieutenant Rivera is fired, so I could tell Eli there was finally some justice for his father. Thank you all for your support and your time.
Say his name! Allan Feliz! Say his name! Allan Feliz! What's his name? Allan Feliz! What's his name? Allan Feliz! Say his name! Allan Feliz! Say his name! Allan Feliz!
We also joined here today by the families of other New Yorkers that have been killed by the police. No family should be a member of this club. But they're here in solidarity the same way that the police family has been in solidarity with them, their loved ones. So let's also give it up for Kelsey Polanco, stepdaughter of Allan Feliz, Kimberly Feliz, his sister, Iliana Mejia, his cousin, Joshua Lopez, nephew of John Collado, and Victor Dupre, brother of Delron Small. So please give it up for all these families. Sorry, Victor Dempsey.
Okay, I'd like to welcome Jemani Williams, but before I do that, I want to also thank Carmen De La Rosa. She was here, was willing to speak, and she always does in support of the family and the campaign, but unfortunately she had to leave. But another tireless supporter of all of us here, Jemani Williams, public advocate for New York City. Woo!
Peace and blessings, love and light to everybody here. Thank everybody that's here. Thank you to the family for continuing to keep Allan's name lifted up, not just for yourself, but for all the other families who haven't gotten justice. And sadly, because there is no accountability, it's likely that there will be additional families at some point added to the name. And while you hold your brother, your son, your relative up, it's for so many other people. Thank you so much. That is a heavy burden. It's really tough to continue to talk about a case that seemed to be the prototype of how easy it should be to get justice in Allan Feliz case. Should have been, particularly from an administration that said that they wanted to do something different, and from a commissioner who, until that point, seemed to be trying to do something different. So I'm proud, I should say, to stand here with the advocates and the family and say we're not just going to let it go. We're going to use all the tools at our disposal. This lawsuit is the right way to go, because as many people have said and will continue to say, if there ever was a case that almost everyone agreed upon, even officers that I know cite this case as one where there should have been a level of justice, reminding people what this was asking for. Wasn't even jail time, wasn't even an arrest. People were asking for that, but this wasn't that. This was a departmental discipline. If you can't have a departmental discipline for someone shooting someone unarmed, that the own department judge says should be disciplined, says they didn't believe what they were saying on the stand, I don't know when you can get it. And that seems to be the problem. Everything they ask us to do gets done, and you still don't get the justice that you rightfully deserve. All of those things should mean that you should no longer be a cop. But I want to put it in perspective. Not only do you have an officer who made the wrong judgment and killed someone, you have an officer that a judge believed was lying on the stand. This is now the person who has been elevated, promoted, and is out on the street, that people want us elected officials to go back and say you should have faith in. That is a very, very difficult thing to do. And Commissioner Tish, you really blew it. Like you just did. I don't know how else to say it. Siding with the Attorney General, who had a different barometer of which to look at this case in this lens, which is a terrible, terrible miscarriage of justice. It cannot be all an officer has to say is they were fearful, they thought this, and that alone absolves everything. There is nowhere else, no other job that could suffice, and nothing happened to you. And the least that this would have done would say you should no longer be a member of the NYPD. That's it. If this doesn't say you shouldn't be a member of the NYPD, what does? What kind of officer do you have to show yourself to be other than lying, killing someone else unarmed for no reason, which a judge agrees with? What else are you asking for? So I hope, pray this lawsuit is successful. Again, not just for Allan Feliz's family, but for so many other families who are told, if you just do this, if this happens, if that happens, and so many New Yorkers who are told, if you just sit as stoically as possible, you'll be okay. It just doesn't happen. And part of that change is some kind of accountability. Commissioner Tish did not deliver that. It was brought to her from CCRB, from her own judge. I'm really hoping that a courtroom will bring some kind of justice at some point, and I will stand with the family and everyone else until that happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Damani. Our next two speakers are from the incredible legal team that is working with Allan's family, the Justice Committee on our Article 78 lawsuit, Feliz versus Tish. First, I want to express deep appreciation for the full team, including Latino Justice Prelda, Center for Constitutional Rights, Meldoc Levine and Hoffman, and Gideon Oliver. With us today is Sama Sisay, the staff attorney of the Center for Constitutional Rights.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Allan. I'm an attorney at the Center for Constitutional Rights. CCR has been at the front lines of police accountability work in New York City for decades. First as counsel on the voice of the city's investigation, which challenged the South risk practices. And now we are honored to be part of the legal team representing Allan's family and Justice Committee in this lawsuit against the NYPD Commissioner Tish for really just shocking behavior at refusing to simply discipline. And I think what Jamani said is really important. The department is refusing to simply discipline an officer who at the time of this incident was a sergeant. Wasn't someone who was new to the force, right? Someone who supposedly had gone through various trainings and was setting an example for other officers on the scene with him. Someone who had multiple disciplinary infractions against him that had been substantiated. Someone who killed an unarmed person after tasing them multiple times. And yet the department still refuses to engage in any form of discipline. They think nothing should happen. In fact, they think he should be lieutenant. And this is an example of who the NYPD wants to be protecting New Yorkers. And we say that's not okay. And so this lawsuit that we brought is challenging the decision by Tish to overturn Deputy Commissioner Maldonado's determination that Lieutenant Rivera should be fired from the NYPD because he is lying about what happened the day that he killed Allan. So Rivera claims that during a car stop that happened because they claim Allan was not wearing his seatbelt, that he believed the car was going to move forward and hit an officer on the scene. And so he felt there was danger and he had to shoot Allan at close range, right? So this is his story that he provided. And during the AG investigations, the Attorney General investigation, where they could have brought criminal charges against Rivera, they did find that they didn't have enough to bring those charges against him. But again, the standard for bringing criminal charges against an officer are much higher than the standard for bringing an administrative or disciplinary proceeding against an officer, right? Yet, Commissioner Tish relied on the Attorney General's determination over 5 years ago, where the Attorney General did not have all the evidence that the Civilian Complaint Review Board had when they did their investigation and substantiated claims against Rivera. The Attorney General did not have the same evidence that the Deputy Commissioner of Trials had when Rivera was on the stand and testifying, a trial that Tish was not present at. Despite all of the evidence that has amounted over the past 5 years to show that Rivera lied about what happened, made statements that were not consistent with body-worn camera video, Tish ignored all of those evidence and determined that a statement from the Attorney General that she could not bring criminal charges against Rivera, didn't have enough evidence to bring criminal charges against Rivera, was enough for the department to therefore not bring any form of discipline, administrative discipline against this officer. And that's completely false. You'll often hear people say that the police commissioner has the final say in discipline, but that's not true. The New York City Charter does give the police commissioner control over discipline. However, it's not final. A court can look at that decision and see whether it's a lawful decision that was made. And we're arguing that Tish's decision was not lawful because it was arbitrary and capricious, and it was an abuse of discretion. So why are we saying that her decision was arbitrary and capricious? That essentially means that she reached a different conclusion than her deputy commissioner, but did not provide any evidence as to why she reached that conclusion, right? So she's just saying, well, we think that he was telling the truth. The Attorney General determined this, and so I'm going to rely on what the Attorney General determined 5 years ago and ignore all the evidence that the CCRB and the Deputy Commissioner have presented. That is arbitrary, that's capricious, that's illegal, and that's what we are arguing in this lawsuit. One example of evidence that should have been really damning in this case is that after the shooting, there's video of Rivera saying, my hand was tired. Right? He didn't say, oh, I thought I was in danger, or I thought the officer was going to be hit by a car or anything. The statement he made right after the shooting was that his hand was tired. And when he was being interviewed about the statement, he said he was talking about performing CPR. But if you watch the body-worn camera video, it doesn't align. He was in the car. He wasn't performing CPR. So there's multiple instances of him lying and saying these self-serving statements to try and escape accountability. And now we have Commissioner Tish essentially saying that's okay. Saying that taking somebody's life, lying about it, leads to you getting no form of discipline from the NYPD.
That ain't right.
And that is not right. That's not right.
That ain't right.
And so that's why we are in court. That's why we are demanding accountability. We believe that her decision should be overturned. We believe that the decision itself is illegal. It's arbitrary. It's capricious. And my co-counsel, Olivia Clark, will explain more about other arguments in the lawsuit.
Good morning. My name is Olivia Clark, and I'm an attorney at Baldock, Levine & Hoffman. Baldock, Levine & Hoffman is a firm that has long stood by and represented families whose loved ones have been killed by the police. And I'm proud to be a part of this legal team. The New York City Charter gives the police commissioner discretion and authority over the discipline of officers, but it does not say that the commissioner can abuse that discretion or break the law. And that is precisely what Commissioner Tisch has done in this case. Under New York law, courts can reverse disciplinary decisions when the punishment or lack of punishment shocks one's sense of fairness because it is grossly disproportionate to the misconduct or to the harm that was caused. And that's exactly what we have here. Commissioner Tisch's decision to let Lieutenant Rivera keep his job shocked the conscience.
I'm going to the mayor, I'm going to the city, I'm going from.
Deputy Commissioner Maldonado didn't mince her words. She found that Rivera lied, he contradicted himself, and he showed unabashed obstinacy on the stand. Her decision was careful, it was reasoned, and it was grounded in the facts. Under New York law, those credibility findings are supposed to carry serious weight, and they are largely unreviewable. But Commissioner Tisch just threw them out the window. Tisch's decision shocked the conscience of Allan's family, the entire legal team representing him, all of the groups and the elected officials that are here today, and countless New Yorkers. It dismisses the gravity of Rivera's misconduct and tears at the very fabric of police integrity and accountability. Let's be clear, Rivera took a life. He took the life of a partner, a parent, a brother, a son, and a friend. And instead of facing discipline, he's been promoted since killing Allan. Tisch's decision doesn't just excuse a killing. It sends a message that an officer can take a life and then climb the ranks. That's a terrifying precedent for every single New Yorker. Commissioner Tisch's decision must be reversed, and Rivera must be fired. That is the only outcome that honors the law, upholds basic justice, and offers even a fraction of accountability for the killing of Allan Feliz.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Jessica Tisch has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Jessica Tisch has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Jessica Tisch has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Jessica Tisch has got to go!
Okay, our final speaker today will be Council Member Alexa Feliz. Welcome and your support. I'm done.
So, my name is Alexa Feliz. I'm a council member representing a district in Brooklyn, and I have been standing with the Feliz family in this grave injustice. And you've heard speaker after speaker give you the facts of this case that all lead to the same conclusion. Police cannot police themselves. Even with facts that you have heard over and over again. Misconduct allegations substantiated, lawsuits, murder, inconsistencies in testimony, and even being found guilty. He is still allowed to walk free again. If that is not the very definition of corruption, or something even more profoundly sinister, I don't know what is. And so we will continue to stand with the family to demand accountability. 6 years plus. Imagine had it been your loved one. Imagine. We will stand here as long as we need to. And yes, right. Jessica Tisch must go. Saying she blew it is an understatement. That's right. What she did was unjust, and she knowingly did it. So we will stand here and demand full accountability. We demand her departure because she has proved she is incapable of serving justice to New York City residents. And so with that, we stand in solidarity We demand full justice for the police family who continues to be harmed by the New York City NYPD to this very moment, with no accountability. We stand with you.
I said no justice.
No peace.
I said no justice.
No peace.
I said no justice.
No peace.
If we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
if we don't get no justice,
They don't get no peace.
Before we take questions on behalf of the Justice Committee, we again want to express our gratitude to our legal team, Latino Justice Pro-Dem, Center for Constitutional Rights, Eldoc Levine and Hoffman, Gideon Oliver. Thank you for your commitment to Allan's memory and family and to justice. We also want to thank all the other organizations that have joined us today, which have also been fighting side by side with the Justice Committee and the Feliz family for years. Our Housing Works, make some noise, make the road. Welcome to New York, showing up for racial justice, Malcolm X grassroots movement, and just for racial and economic justice. Thank you all.